And there was some subtle suggestion of IMF. I think we've told you that we are not going there. Okay? But we've also told you that we have an incredibly good relationship with them. And therefore, their stock of knowledge and advice, etc., we are going to continue with that. And I think we even have a staff visit next week or so, you know, as we look at these measures that we have talked about.
I'm able to report to you, my fellow Ghanaians, that the negotiations to secure a strong IMF program
Hi there, good morning, good morning, good morning. Top of the morning to you. Many thanks for joining us. This is the newspaper review live here on Pan-African Television. My name is Kokwa Alomaso. As usual, I sit in for Kwame Owusu Danso. I want to thank you especially for tuning in. Those of you who are watching us across the length and breadth of the country. Those of you watching especially from the northeast region, Nalerigo, Gambaga, Langbinsi, Wundua, and the Kulgones, and all these other parts of the region. Thank you so much. Upper East, Upper West, Tumu, Sisala, Golu, Wa, all these other places. Thank you so much for tuning into the station. The northern region, of course, where we know that the cookathon is currently ongoing. Yes, Phyla is looking forward to breaking the Guinness World Record for the longest cooking marathon. I think she's done in excess of 190 hours already. By the end of today, should have clocked 200 hours. I don't know how far she'll be going, but we'll continue to wish her the best. If you look at her demeanor and the sort of verve and energy and the vim and the vivacity that she's using to cook, people even say that she can cook until like March. But of course, we know that would be detrimental to her health. I want to believe that aside everything, she's also healthy, because we wouldn't want to, you know, see her finish this and then she'll be having a lot of health problems. So I'm sure she's fine. She's okay to continue. We are wishing her the very best. Also is the fact that I think there's some other person who is looking forward to cooking for, I think, 200 hours also. So Chef Phyla is ensuring that she will go beyond the 200 hours so that it will make the record extremely difficult to beat. Remember, Hilda Bassi, I think Hilda Bassi did in excess of 92 hours thereabout. Right now, Phyla has actually doubled it, and by the end of today, she will surpass 200 hours. I think she might even go probably up to Friday perhaps, in order to ensure that nobody breaks that record. Wish her the very best. I like the sort of euphoria that it has created, the national cohesion and unity. People are leaving Accra to Tamale to go witness it. People are going with their potoyoes and their sankes and their bowls just to go and eat. I like the scenes. And so shout out to Tamale Kaula. I hope everybody is doing fine, and thank you so much for making us the station of choice. And I say this with so much emphasis. I say this emphatically. I mean, I think it was 2 weeks ago that Alaji and Alaji took place in Tamale. And if you see the people that came out to come and be part of Ghana's biggest weekend political program, Alaji and Alaji. If you see the chiefs and people of Tamale who came out just to be a part of that magnificent event, I mean, we can only be grateful that, especially in that part of the country, we are always the station of choice, Pan-African Television, and we do not take your support for granted. Let me also send special shouts to those of you down south for also holding us down. The eastern, the western, the greater Accra region, of course, the central region, Ogwei. Some people, I don't know why some people say Ogwei.
No, they will kind of say
Igwe. So there's this artist, I've forgotten his name. Ooh. in his songs, when he's from the central region, so when he's about to start, that's like his catchphrase or his mantra. So Igwe, before he sings, I've forgotten. Simple, something simple. Is it Kobe Simple? I'm sure you know him. Yeah, Kobe Simple. Yeah, fine artist. So Igwe. I don't know, but I love the central region. You know, I particularly decided to school in the central region because I wanted to learn the Fanti language. So, you know, yeah. So and I mean, if you are talking about schools in Ghana,
no central.
yeah. But then again, I also feel that aside the schools and then the political history, Ghana's political history, like, I mean, that is where it starts. That is the genesis if you're going back in time. I feel like aside these two things, it's been nothing else.
Yeah.
I mean, for the want of a better word, it's been nothing else. Cape Coast deserves more than it has gotten over the past year, seriously.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much more that is supposed to be done in order to see that it gets the glory that it deserves. And I think I saw a post on Facebook yesterday, a Cape Coast page lamenting on the lagging, development in the central region. I'm sure there are lots of projects that this government has decided to embark on, but hasn't seen the light of day as of now. And especially in this year, which is an election year, I don't know if there's any hope. So they mentioned the Commander Sugar Factory, which does not require so much, to work. They also mentioned, I think, some other project in Anomabo that is supposed to be part of the University of Cape Coast. I don't know if it's some Greek research center or something of sort that's supposed to be at Anomabo. I really don't know. But there's a lot more that's supposed to be done.
Yeah, for the region.
I mean, it deserves so much for a region that was the capital.
Yeah, used to be the capital of the country.
Yeah, I mean,
bless, you are right. If you take education, even tourism has not been developed, except that we have the castle.
Yeah, exactly.
The castles and the fort. So they serve as the tourism or attraction that gets people to come to the region. Apart from that, in terms of economic gains or benefits, I don't think the region has had any significant development, even in terms of infrastructure. So for me, and interestingly, we've had Vice President, I think DeGraff Johnson, from Central Region, Professor Atamos from Central Region.
President.
Yes, and then Msata from Central Region. And other big shots, like Spiro Gabriels and all of them, Hawaii and all that. We had all these people, yet we couldn't feel their impact, the effect of what they did, as politicians on the region. And it's rather unfortunate, but I believe moving forward, subsequent governments will pay attention to issues of Central Region. Yeah. And especially if you consider the fact that Central Region has always determined who becomes the president. Yeah. Whoever wins Central Region, the presidential votes, end up becoming the president of the country. So the point is that we need more from our politicians. The region, unemployment rate in the region
so
very high.
It's one of the poorest regions.
Yeah. If you consider the fact that we have the best university, one of the best universities in the country. If you consider
best senior high schools in the country.
If you consider the contribution the region makes towards the intellectual community of the country, the development of the country, and the fact that we are not getting the return, what we need to get as a region, it's sad. It's sad.
And more so, I also feel that the region has literally everything. You have the ocean. you have mineral resources. You've discovered lithium now.
That's why we don't want this lithium game to be a political football thing. Yeah.
Cocoa is planted in the central region. Gold is mined in the central region. Like, it's a place that has everything. It has arable lands. You know, you also have the ocean and everything. But seriously, it saddens me. It saddens me.
Leadership. Our problem has always been leadership. Yeah, leadership. The priority of our leaders. You know, maybe you're going to talk about the Nigerian issue. You see, people. I've always said that the money that politicians steal from the system, if we're able to block even 50% of it, it's huge. It's going to change a lot of things in the country. I mean, somebody becomes minister and within 4 years owns about 5 or 6 or 7 houses and with fleet of cars and all that, and nobody will question how, because we need to juxtapose what you've acquired with, you know, your income, your sources of income, and see whether they match, whether it is a reflection, a true reflection of what you earn. But we don't do such things. So somebody goes into politics, all that the person cares about is to milk the nation dry, and after that, just go into opposition thinking that maybe 8 years' time he will come again. And also, and see the same faces.
Yeah.
So you check the same faces. They go 8 years and they come 8 years. They go 8 years. And I think Ghanaians must begin to, you know, rethink and see politics differently and also see politicians differently. So that is it. That is what I would say. And that was just by the way.
Right. I mean, I had to start the conversation on that because I know that's where you come from.
Yeah.
And also the very fact that, I mean, there's a region I hold very close, you know, to my heart, and I feel it's high time the region saw the development that it deserves. But if you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Africa. This is the newspaper review segment of the show. We are live on YouTube. Make sure you do well to join us. These are the topics we are discussing for the morning. Nigerian poverty minister suspended over money. The Daily Graphic newspaper has captured this story. National security thwarts new force unveiling, and Ghanaians have already abandoned you. Start preparing handing over notes. NDC to the new patriotic party. These are the topics we are discussing for the morning. I've been joined by Abu Bakman of the Movement for Change. We had earlier conversations relating to the central region and the very fact that there's a region, for the very fact that it was the national capital, the seat of government. It deserves better. It deserves more. It deserves better. So, without further ado, we'll start the conversation. But I think Gabriella has joined us. She's assuming her seat. Good morning, Gabi.
Good morning. Let me sit down.
I trust you're fine.
You want everybody to know that today I came late?
Oh, but they know already. They know you've been coming late. This year we are not tolerating lateness. So.
I left my house for
then, you know, it's the traffic. It's the traffic.
Apparently, people have started going back to work.
Exactly, and they have to.
So
the holiday season is over.
The cars were many.
Yeah, I can understand.
So next time, 6 o'clock.
Charlie.
Right. I'll read out our first topic for conversation. The African story has got to do with Nigeria. Nigeria is in the news for many reasons. I don't know if you two have heard about the issues relating to the Synagogue Church of All Nations, TB Joshua, and the startling revelations that have come out. A lot of people have been asking why after his demise, why not when he was alive, when he had the power to respond to these allegations. So, I mean, people have their personal, especially the Christian community, they have there's I don't know the exact words to use, but I mean, they don't believe it, that all of these things happened. I'm not in the position, I've not entirely watched the documentary. I'm not in the position to say or to judge whether all these happenings are true or not. I independently cannot say, but we are not discussing that. We are talking about the very fact that the Nigerian president...
Oh, no, but we can do 5 minutes on that.
We are talking about the fact that Nigerian president Tinubu, he has suspended a minister over the alleged diversion of more than 585 million naira. That's amounting to some $640,000 if you do the conversion of public money into a personal bank account. Interestingly, he is the Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation Minister, Betta Edu. He was suspended on Monday following public outrage over the scandal. A statement from President Bola Tinubu's office said he had ordered an investigation into Dr. Edu's ministry. Dr. Edu has denied any wrongdoing. Her office said she had approved the transfer into a personal account which was not in her name, but said it was for the implementation of grants to vulnerable groups. Dr. Edu, 37, is the youngest minister in President Tinubu's cabinet and is seen as a close ally of the president. The suspension of a minister is a rare occurrence in Nigeria. Thus, Dr. Edu is the first to lose a job since President Tinubu took office in May last year. His predecessor, Buhari, sacked only 2 ministers during his 8-year tenure. Last week, local media reported on a leaked document that allegedly showed Dr. Edu instructing a senior treasury official to transfer the money to the personal account of Bridget Oniyelu, the accountant for the government's grant for vulnerable groups initiative. Wow, interesting. I like the part which says that his predecessor sacked only 2 ministers. Here, have we been able to sack? Have we even sacked one? I think is it Victoria Hammer? I think it's Victoria Hammer in the NDC administration that she said she wouldn't quit politics until she made $1 million. I think that's the statement she made, and the president then wasn't happy about it. Public outrage as well, and then eventually she was relieved of her duties. But this is a very interesting story. Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation Minister. Wow, interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Gabi.
First of all, I'll start with the documentary. Let me say good morning to our viewers before I even get into that one. Since we're in Nigeria, let's discuss Nigeria holistically. You raised 2 issues. So let's discuss both issues. You see, a lot of people, by sheer fact that they are ignorant of what true religion really is, seek salvation in men, especially men of God. No man of God can give you salvation. A true man of God will direct you to where you find salvation. Ask whether you believe. For those who don't believe, that is also your option. But for those who believe, a true man of God will direct you to the only one who has been blameless since creation. And if the Bible and historical accounts are anything to go by, there's only one person who's been able to attain that kind of self-control and who has been able to embody a certain spirit of blamelessness. Even the only attempt that he went and beat somebody, it cost him his life on a cross. That is the way that gives you salvation. When you go and find salvation in men of God, expect that whatever it is that is tormenting them, they'll bring it on you too, in addition to whatever your issues are. Many people go because these people have power, influence, and many of them money. People fall prey to their tactics, and some of these things are bound to happen. I personally, it's a choice. Again, you choose who you want to believe in. I personally never believed in TB Joshua. There was something orchestrated about that whole deliverance, theater of deliverance thing that was going on. It appeared that everybody who was going through a deliverance process, they all kept repeating the same thing. Who are you? I'm Marine. I'm this. What have you done? I've done this, I've done this, I've done that. And it's always the same responses. If you are truly fighting Satan and his demons, that is not the responses they'll be giving to you. Because you know that this is your orchestrated line. By this time, they'll be bombarding you with all kinds of responses that people in your church may run away from the church if they are not strong-willed to get deliverance. But that is, by the way, find your salvation through Christ. That is the only way. let the Holy Spirit help you resolve your issues, and let God bless you. That is it. On Tinubu, I think that for once I can praise Tinubu for something, for taking this step. I think that is a no-nonsense approach to how to deal with corruption in your government. And here's a case where in Nigeria specifically, corruption is a very big deal. They have instances where ministers sign all kinds of stuff. There was this case, if you remember, a minister for energy who, under I think it was Goodluck Jonathan, who was charged with corruption and all kinds of allegations. She went to UK. She had to be in the UK for so long. Eventually, it was reported that she had gone to another European country. She had fallen sick. Her hair had all fallen off. She then had cancer, and all kinds of issues were plaguing her. Corruption in Nigeria is a big deal. So, for him to start, even in an attempt to start getting rid of his ministers, it is one thing. I think that beyond just sacking people, terminating their appointments, they also have to reimburse their monies back to the state. If you recall, when you made mention of Victoria Hammer, you also forgot one thing. During the bus branding scandal, Honorable Jifativo and the lady who got the contract for the bus branding, there was a lot of uproar also against the bus branding issue. And then eventually, people were calling for the removal of Jifativo. She had to compel the lady who got the contract to pay back monies to the state. So it is another means where the state gives back from what people have taken advantage of to benefit themselves. But beyond that, we all know that when they mention the ills of Africa and sub-Saharan Africa, corruption is always at the foreburner. So beyond just terminating appointments, beyond just making people to reimburse, what else can we do to ensure that people don't do this? If you put in punitive measures, you take somebody to court, you said they've caused financial loss, they are there 5 years. The person who went and stole the goat got 10 years. When you look at how much a person has cost the state, and look at how much a person cost in life, and you compare the two, justice is not the lady justice says skills are not equal, as they say. And especially when people are put in positions where your decisions and your actions and the mere fact that you have jurisdiction over billions of taxpayers' money and of resources to the people of Ghana or to the people of any country within the sub-Saharan African region, since we're talking about Africa generally. Beyond that, what else can we do to make sure that we make corruption so unattractive that even the mere thought of it instills fear in you? When you go into Europe, there was this letter that was circulating around Christmas. I think whether it was Angola or one of these other African countries, where one of the foreign embassies, somebody gifted the ambassador a pen drive with some other gadgets, and the ambassador wrote a nice letter thanking him for the gift, but also adding that the taxpayers' money that's brought him to your country is enough to take care of her needs, and she doesn't need these items. So she will appreciate that you take it back and perhaps donate it to an orphanage or something like that. Put in those things that make people don't even want to go there. Today, if you ask every single Ghanaian, ask just randomly, if Akufo-Addo was to make you a minister, will you be happy? Who will say no? Why? Because everybody thinks that is the avenue to making it. But that should not be the avenue to making it. When you go to Europe, the European ministers, that is not how they make it. And when you see them, their life is so simple. Because when you are called to this kind of duty, you are called to serve the nation at a higher level, for a higher purpose beyond you. That, I'm not sounding philosophical this morning, but that higher purpose means that you want to make life better for others and not you.
Yourself, yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So what can we replicate? What can we learn from these democracies and also bring here? You've seen the minister. Here in Ghana, you have a minister, they have a 4-wheel drive, they have a saloon car. The ministry also has a vehicle on standby. That is also at their disposal. So one minister has about 3 or 4 official cars. There, you go by bicycle, if that is what you have. You go by public transport. You go by train. When you go and experience it, and you realize that it's not working, you go back and fix it. So nobody will give you any lavish vehicle to go and drive about town, and when you are coming, everybody move aside, big man is passing. No. No. We should build our society to that stage. And I know that it's possible. It is possible for us to get there. What we need is the kind of selfless leadership that is willing to forego all those largesse and those material things and ensure that those that he has appointed or she has appointed do not also go that way. Today, I can cite instances in this MEP administration where ministers are forcing people to pay money to people that is not due them. And Akufo-Addo is sitting there left, unperturbed, unmoved. That's why Akufo-Addo, then you people bring him as a topic, eh? He himself, he'll clap for me. Charlie, let's move on. So let's find solutions to solve that problem. Beyond loss of causing financial loss, then you are put in prison for 5 years. A government comes within 2 years, then they get you out. It's not fair to the person who, because of hunger and poverty, has had to go in 9 years, 12 years, 15 years. For what? For less crimes. When they say justice is fair, justice for me is not fair. That's why personally, I don't have any interest in this court of yours. There's another court. That one, you don't waste time. Share. Everybody gets their due. But anyway, in conclusion, let us learn from the best practices of how others have been able to contain corruption. And then let's also try and implement it here so that the resources that is due Africans can stay in Africa and be used to develop Africa and not people's personal. But let me conclude with this one thing. I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and he told me that corruption is part of the democratic process because corruption puts money out of the system and puts it into the hands of people. So unlike the public service that delivers on services, the corruption part is the one that frees the money to other beneficiaries and it moves the system. It is still not a justifiable explanation on us accepting corruption. There are still other ways of moving money about. If we're able to keep that money into the state can develop a welfare system so that those who are in the extreme brackets, and you have programs like LEAP and BAN and all these things, you have the money to push in more resources to help other people. And not because somebody is affiliated to a political party or something. You deliberately create a scheme and then you move money out. No.
Right.
That is not it.
All right. Thank you very much, Gavi. Mr. Bachman.
Bless, I think first and foremost, I think the Nigerian press, the media should be praised for shedding light on this issue. I mean, they brought it to the fore. And for me, that should be the work of the media. That such, happenings should be exposed. I mean, if you consider the fact that the story, as the story, let us know. As a minister, you have no business transferring money to any personal account. You have no business. There shouldn't be any justification for it because you have government account. And if you're a minister, there's nothing private or personal about the work you do. You are doing government business. Therefore, money should move from one government account to another government account. And for me, it is significant to mention some of these things. Because if the moment the money moves from the government account to personal account, then the temptation or the possibility of you having access to the money and using it to do the things that you want will always be there. So Nigerian media did fantastic work. And Tinubu too, I think he's demonstrated this is the kind of leadership we need in Africa. If you look at the Singapore example, in Singapore, if you are anything concerning corruption, if you are suspected of corruption, in fact, you are deemed you are deemed you did it.
Yeah.
So it is not for the states to prove. It is for you to prove that you didn't do it.
Once you're intact, the perception is that
you did
are.
it. Yeah, it means you did it. So it's for you to prove to the states that you didn't do it. So the burden of proof is not on the state, it's on you. That is how they've couched their corruption laws. So if you know, you would have to prove to the state why you have 5 houses as a minister when your pay cannot even get you 1 house. Then you should the burden of proof should be on you, not on the state. Do you get the point I'm making? So for me, we need to, if Africa, if there's the need for us to look at our laws, corruption laws in particular, and see if we can tighten things up so that people will not easily, get away with corruption. Obviously, this man just became a minister or CEO of state institution. Within 4 years, 5 years, he's got houses and cars, other property elsewhere. People always queue to, if you go to his house, people always go there, virtually queuing to get money from the person. And the person is able to satisfy them. So in the political circles, that person is deemed to be a good politician. Because only time you go there, he's able to give you money. And I think those people are rather the good ones that we praise and we vote for and we support. Forgetting that these are the people who are denying the country the kind of development we need to have as a people. So for me, the corruption issue in Africa, I mean, if you consider the fact that coups delayed us a lot in terms of progress, corruption for me has been the main, the bane of our development. If you consider, I said, if the money politicians steal, they loot. If even 50% of them, you're able to, prevent or prevent them from stealing even 50% of them, we'll be better off as a nation. I mean, remember the statement, I will never forget this, the statement Kennedy Japan made. He said, these people are looting the nation as if there's no tomorrow. And when they loot, they send the money outside. They don't even keep the money they don't even invest the money here for us to have the benefit of it. They send the money outside. And one thing, let me say this to politicians. One thing, my brother, let me say this. No matter how much you have in your account, how much you steal into your account, your portion of it is what you spend in a day. No matter how much you have stolen and you've sent it abroad or any bank, your portion of it is what you spend in a day. Do you get that point I'm making? Because the day you die, the money does not belong to you again. So what you spend a day is what is for you. So please, don't be so wicked to be stealing state resources, state money for your personal benefit. It won't end you any. In fact, we've seen politicians after, I don't want to mention names, after their retirement or so, when they stopped doing politics, some of them virtually became beggars. Beggars. Do you know why? Because the money that you stole, the money did not belong to you. People had to sweat, pay taxes. Then you just get it for yourself, for your family, send your kids abroad. Let me tell you, there's a house. I will never forget, there's a house in Cape Coast. Somebody told me a story, because the forefathers were politicians. They made a lot of money. And all the family members at point in time, all of them were getting mad. Some of them were doctors, lawyers. They were getting mad. You see them, and we used to call them with certain names in Cape Coast. That is the repercussions you get if you steal what does not belong to you to cater for your family. So politicians in Africa, learn to at least think about people who have to lie down to write in school. Think about people who go to the hospital and they have to lie on the floor to get treatment. Think about them. At least, if you are not afraid that there's God who will one day judge you, at least the people that you see on the streets, think about them. As the money that you alone you have stolen. Ask yourself, how many lives can this money change? What are you looking for? You bought some of the houses, even after they have left, even their family members cannot cater for the houses because they are too big. They need painting, they can't paint. So why all these things? So for me, yes, Nigeria, Tinubu has done fantastic work. I think it's suspension. He said they are doing investigation. I mean, the fact that she even thought of moving the money from a government account to personal account, it shouldn't be even suspension. I mean, he should have just sacked the woman. And what saddens my heart is the fact that she's very young. These days we are saying that the youth should be given the opportunity, to also, do what they can do for their countries. And if 37-year-old lady, young lady, should be doing a thing like that, of course, they said there's going to be investigation as to whether she has done any wrongdoing. But for me, the fact that she moved the money from the government account to personal account, you see, corruption, sometimes it starts small, as somebody will say, it starts small. They will steal maybe some $50, they will steal some $100, and they are not caught. They try to increase it to, then next time they'll be stealing $1 million, then they are going to the tens and the hundreds of dollars. That is how it starts. So the moment you see it, quickly you need to nip it in the bud. Yeah. And for me, that is what Tinubu has done. And that is what we don't see. I'm happy Tinubu has not become a clearing agent. That is what we don't see in this country. That is what we expect the president to do. He should stop clearing people. The money he's supervising over, the money is not for his family or his cronies or for his family members. The money is for the states. That is why I don't like it, even when people say they label projects, NDC projects, MPP project. I see if the money belongs to NDC or MPP. This is national project. You are doing for Christ's sake, and you are using national money. If you are doing your convention or your congress, you use your party, even that one is state money, you still to do those things. The point I'm making is that African leaders must rise up. I mean, Paul Kagame is doing fantastic work too. He's also fighting corruption, even though people are also accusing him and all that. For me, what is important is that when you see corruption rearing its ugly head, kill it. Don't let it grow. Kill it. And Tinubu so far has demonstrated that. I think our president should also learn from Tinubu and other presidents who are also fighting corruption in their country. If you do that, it will go a long way to help this country.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ebu Bakman. If you're just joining us, you're watching the morning show, Good Morning Africa, live here on Pan-African Television. We'll proceed to our next topic for discussion. New force unveiling thwarted by national security. Yesterday, we looked briefly at that particular topic. I don't know if you've read the justification for the cancellation of the event. Yesterday, the office of the president, I think it was yesterday or 2 nights ago, that they issued a press statement with regards to the cancellation of that event that was supposed to make bare or to reveal the leader of the new force. A lot of activists, I should call them, were in town. I know Julius Malema of South Africa, PLO Lumumba, Peter Obi of Nigeria, all of them were here for the ceremony. And it was just about 2 hours to the event that it was called off, a place that the people had already paid for, I think as far back as 11th of November. So nearly 2 months period. Government didn't realize that, and according to the press statement, it was unforeseen circumstances and that they were going to use the place for another event. I mean, this country, I don't know which event transpired at the Independence Square on Sunday nothing happened. So clearly, this is some cosmetic of a justification, some facade of a justification, if you like. I think this morning I heard the Member of Parliament for Bilsa South, Clement Apak, saying that this means that our democracy has retrogressed. And he's not the only person that has come out to lash out at government for this move. A lot of people have condemned. Why would you stop it when you had actually taken money for it, when you had agreed that they can have this event at this place at this particular time? Then the day comes, not even like a 5-day notice. People have traveled from other countries to be here for the event. They've booked hotels. They are here. The very day, just about 2 hours to the event, you come out to say, oh, I'm sorry, this cannot happen. People say this sheds like light on the sort of democracy that has characterized this administration. Do you share in such, sentiments?
Bless. I told you I joined MPP in 1992. I was a very young man. I joined MPP in 1992. I rejected NDC and all other political parties that emerged. In 1992, we had a lot of political parties. But per what I heard and what I saw, I felt MPP was more democratic. I mean, MPP was a party that if you were a young man, you would want to join, because it's like things are done right. Because of NDC's, in historical antecedent, you would want to, associate with something that is cool, So I joined MPP. So I joined MPP for that reason. For that reason. But you see, what is happening, even in MPP? See, the thing started in MPP. People overlooked it. Instead of rule of law, MPP is experiencing rule of man. The same thing is now, it has moved to, it has moved from the party level to the national level. I mean, what kind of justification can you give for what was done? What kind of justification can you give for what was done? You see, if you know that you have something to hide, if you know that you don't want people to know certain things about you, if you know that people are going to say certain things that will maybe give enlightenment to the youth or to Ghanaians, then you begin to do some of these things just to prevent Ghanaians from knowing certain things that they need to know as a people. I mean, these are people. Look at Pitobi, Julius Guy, and the professor, is it Lumumba? I mean, these are people, when they speak and you hear them speak, they sound so nationalistic. They sound so progressive. And for me, these are the people must listen to or must hear from. So if they're going to have something, Africa Convention or whatever, and it's not anything harmful, it's going to give a lot of education to our people, why should you feel threatened? And as a result of which, decide to do what was done. I mean, this is very shameful, and this takes away significantly from our democratic credentials as a nation, and it is something that has to be condemned by every democracy-loving person. I mean, somebody will say, this is not the president, or let's say, this is not President Mr. Akufo-Addo I knew some time ago. And somebody will also say, probably you didn't know him well, there are some people who pretend to be democratic when in actual fact they are not democratic. If you want to test whether somebody is truly a Democrat,
give him power.
Give him power. Give him power. As I've always said, and we say it in our local parlance, Banchi, so you, chidi ija, no bechere. If you want to test African leader, you let them have a taste of power. And they would want to do anything, to kill, to maim, to do anything negative, just to sustain power. Forgetting that the power does not belong to you. You see, power swings every 4 years. Now, do you know what? 2021, he voted for Nanado. He was having the power fully. Then as the years go by, the power is shifting from him to back to the people. So by the end of this year, the power will be in the hands of the people. He will be a lame duck president. He will have no power. Then we will go and vote to decide who becomes our next president. Do you get the point I'm making? So for me, that is very important. Mr. President, I mean, people have been complaining about the way you have been handling things in respect of our democratic, even institutions, and our democratic governance. Please, let's keep our country together, and let's do things right so that our people would know or will begin to love even the democratic process we have chosen as a people to be the basis of our governance. For me, that is what I would say on this issue, at least for now. And I allow my sister, I know she can't wait to speak on this issue, so let me give her the opportunity to speak.
Right, Gabi.
Two things come to mind regarding this whole episode. First of all, Akufo-Addo and his MPP government have shown the young man, quote unquote, shaggy. Yeah. They waited for him last minute just to thwart every single thing by the stroke of one letter. And the letter wasn't even signed by the chief of staff, it was signed by a technocrat. Yeah. To silence everything.
HM Wood or so they call it.
He's a chief director at the Flagstaff House. First of all, this thing with the new force, frankly, I think that they would make more progress in whatever it is that they've set up to do if they could find a much more suitable name. Because the name force, definitely you're going to gather the attention of government and security forces. We all know the only force in this country, and that's the armed forces. And we know why they are called force. So to come up with a movement, and then your aim is to galvanize the energies of the youth especially into a force. What do you want to attain with the force? When he was granted his interview, he said he didn't, when he was talking about how his the image in the billboards, the man in the mask, he mentioned that he could have been an evangelist, he could have been a politician, he could have been a revolutionist. He didn't say he was any of those things. It was people who came looking for who was the man behind the new force. It's not a question of who's the man behind the new force. It's actually about the force. What exactly is the new force? You see? So until you're able to define what exactly it is you are, that is what will determine your acceptability, first of all, by the state and by those of us who are also colleague activists. Secondly, I found it a national embarrassment that people the caliber of PLO Lumumba, Africana, Malema, Peter Obi will come to this country and looking at the kind of PR machinery that surrounds these individuals as well. And they would have broadcasted to their followers and everybody that they were coming to Ghana for a convention. So their followers should watch out for the program. And then of course there are also people who will hear that these people are coming to Ghana and probably want to listen to them. So we'll also travel to come and participate just to hear them speak. We will be following the whole event because of the speakers that he's lined up. And to have a last minute show off like that, I think it was, I don't want to use the word unnecessary, but I think that it had to be done because of the movement that they've created. But it was an unfortunate incident. I think that alone is what made cast a negative slur on Ghana's image over the weekend. Because we were all at peace, minding our dry New Year's, when we got wind that the program will not come on. And the reasons, as you mentioned, is a bit frivolous.
Yeah.
But they should have found a much better way. And I'm sure that some of these things, you can have informal ways of meeting the leader of this group and telling them that you know something. If you want to participate in whether it is as a foundation or it's some sort of civil society organization or it's a political movement or something, perhaps they should look at the name that you are projecting so that it can be accepted by everybody. But when you come with the title of a movement as the force, already the NPP is having nightmares over the butterfly force.
It's not force. Ours is not force.
Movement.
No, but even if
the butterfly movement.
Even the word force, like force in itself.
Yes.
Force here is an external agent capable of changing a body state of rest or motion. That is what science defines
as force.
Force to be. So in what sense or in what way does it become an armed force?
No, it's not an armed force. It's you see, when you create, let me tell you something. You have this grouping that is trying to get the youth on its side, right? And it's championing a certain philosophy.
Yeah.
That we are a new force for change.
Yeah.
What kind of change are you projecting? That's why I said that. The title you've given yourself, if you had given yourself a much more subdued title, the political atmosphere will be more accommodating to you. Then we recognize that, okay, it's a political movement. When these ones went butterfly, the political system welcomed them because we understood what butterfly movement is, right? A frontal movement. But when you are coming as a force, security will definitely have a double eye on you. Don't forget that even there's an issue with their spokesperson, who they've already had to send out of the country because she was a foreigner. Whether you like it or not, she was a foreigner being used to participate in Ghana's democratic processes. And whether you like it or not, this country abhors foreign influence in our democracy. I don't know if you're aware of that. As much as political parties and stuff may use them to do research and stuff, there's a limit to the participation that we allow them, because nobody wants a repeat of Kwame Nkrumah's adventures. You understand? So naturally, when it comes to foreigners, the system naturally doesn't really accommodate it, unless the system has a need for it, and the system being the state. But for the political movement that is using foreigners as a face to communicate, and you come with a name that is called a force, you will not be accepted that easily. The young people who like this of today, who like this kind of new energy, will be attracted to it, but the system will not accept this because it finds it as an affront and a threat. So I'm not surprised that they called the whole thing off. He, as a leader of his movement, should be more defining of what they are. It's time for you to showcase whether you are a political party or a political movement, or you were a foundation or a civil society organization, or whatever it is that your forces. If you want to push for a new narrative to Africa, then let everybody also be aware, so that look at the lineup of people you have brought. You want to conscientize the youth about a new Africa. Fantastic.
So didn't they know the type of event that was going to take place at the Independence Square when they took monies from the people in November? Didn't they know that this is the type of event that was supposed to take place, and these are the people to come?
That is why I brought in the issue of the state. I didn't say the government, the state. The onus of national security is to protect the state. I'm not here to defend NPP. I'm taking NPP out of this discussion. The onus of the state, of national security, is to protect the state, right? If they had told them from the onset that, oh, you can't have your program at National Theatre, at Black Star Square, they would have found another venue and the program would have come on. But the aim was not to let the program come on. So you wait till last minute when everything is settled and then you end it. You understand? That is why I had to bring in the issue of the state and define your movement so the state can accept and accommodate what you are. If today, Gabriela, I say that, okay, now I also want to create a new movement. I'm beginning to have a certain revolutionist orientation. And I start to galvanize young people with like-minded mindsets. And then I start talking like Malema. Every day I'm opposed to government and the states, and I'm calling everybody this and that and that and that. And I'm gathering numbers. The state will show interest in me, will it not? Because of what I have become. But if as I'm sitting here, and every day I come and do political discussion, and I'm sharing my thoughts freely, and it's not so radical, the state has accepted me that she's a liberal thinker. Am I right or am I wrong? You understand? So this movement, this force, ought to define themselves properly. As much as it's good PR to put us in suspense, so we don't know who exactly is in the mass, and for months we were guessing. There's a certain doctor who said he was the face behind the new force. Then this young man now says that he's the face behind the mask. So who is who in this movement?
Right.
Give clarity.
Right.
Let's know who you really are. And then we'll move on from there.
Right. Thank you very much.
This one is coming to oppose everything I've said because I'm sure he's his friend. When he walked in, especially for this topic, I knew he'll come and oppose what I have to say. No. Welcome back.
Kwame Osudanso has just joined us. Good morning, Kwame. It's been a while. It's been a minute. I trust you're fine.
Well, we have life. So we can't complain.
Great.
And, Gabriela is very intelligent. She's finding a nice way of preventing me from speaking my mind. But it's not in opposition to what she has elucidated. You see, what are we looking for in this country? Oftentimes, when people get tired of the establishment, all they say is we need a third force.
Third force, yeah.
And the word force has become sort of a word that defines a certain change that the people are looking for. So any reasonable, logical person would construe the word force in this context, not as a group that is intending to uproot this government through coup d'etat, okay, but through democratic means. So if you say force, if you say the third force, they could have said the third force. Say the new force, which symbolizes the youth, as Gabriela has rightly indicated, coming together to change the status quo and to change the narrative. I think is as basic as it can be. But you see, the perception has been created, and rightly so, because we didn't know who was behind the mask, and we didn't know the intentions of the persons behind, or the person behind the mask, and therefore, it led people to construe things, albeit that they didn't have any evidence to back their claims. And so it became a subject matter of public interest. It became a subject matter of national security. And so that is why in the very beginning, we had all these issues coming up. But clearly, I think any reasonable person would have come to the conclusion that this is not a military organization. It is an amalgamation of young people with like-minded ideas coming together to change the duopoly, the NDC NPP. So it's as basic as it can be. Now, what I find very interesting is how this new force has been treated over the period. It started with the PRO, and Gabriela has explained to us that, and I didn't know this, that we cannot have any foreign representation of any kind, in our body politic. And so I understand that. So to that extent, I want to agree Absolutely. So to that extent, I agree that the choice of the PRO for the movement or the force or whatever it is was wrong, right? But then again, that got you talking. It's PR. And right now, whether we like it or not, they have gained some popularity. Whether we like it or not, whether good or bad PR, they've gained some. We are sitting here talking about the new force.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Kwame Bediako, and I knew him long ago. We met on LinkedIn. We engaged a few times. I met him a few times. You know, very nice guy, very focused. But I don't know what he intends to do. Whether he wants to run as a flag bearer, whether he wants to lead the country, or whether he wants to be the president or whatever it is, right? So I have. But the thing is that let's understand the genesis of this movement. And this guy started announcing his interest in politics years ago. If you've been following his trajectory, you'd realize that he started announcing himself in that light long ago, when he started talking about New Africa, when he started talking about the unification of Africa, when he started talking about the youth finding their rightful place within the confines of politics. That is when it should have dawned on all of us that this guy perhaps is harboring some thought of wanting to lead this country in the next foreseeable future. And so I'm not surprised at all that we are seeing this. How the state is treating this gentleman is rather creating sort of an atmosphere which ordinarily would not have been created if we had handled this very well. Again, I mean, I have not followed what happened. It was my father-in-law who mentioned to me over the weekend that, they've scattered the gathering that was supposed to happen at the Independence Square. And even the choice of venue is very symbolic and it's intentional. This is something that they've sat down to think through, and they decided to do it at the Independence Black Star Square because of the significance of that square. Where did Kwame Nkrumah first deliver his speech?
Yeah, the independence speech.
And so if he's telling you that I am the new force, I am the force that is coming to break the jinx of the duopoly, then he needed to symbolize that thought through better presentations. And that's why he chose the Independence Square. They accepted his money. They gave him the venue. They knew the people who were coming to speak on that said day. They allowed him to organize the event, and then in the final analysis you come back to say that you cannot use it, and you scatter them, and then you say that it is what national security matter, and therefore the people cannot be allowed to speak. Why? Are the people who came, are they people who have organized coup d'etats in other countries? If he had brought Dumbuya, or he had brought, the other people who have and all those people, then you can conclude that perhaps this guy's intentions are to organize coup d'etat in this country, and perhaps lead the country through coup d'etat. And I mean, Peter Obi legitimately, legally contested for the presidency of Nigeria. Professor Lumumba, we know him to be somebody who has been speaking about the unification of Africa, somebody who's traversed the world, pontificating about the need for the unification of Africa. You talk about the other former UN ambassador, and these are people who are well respected. This guy is trying to send a message that it is possible for the young man in Ghana today who is upset or who is indignated by the things which these duopoly have been doing to rise up and to change the narrative. It's as simple as that. But when we begin to treat them this way, then we are actually emboldening them. We are emboldening them. It's like when we were young, and you committed an offense in the house, your father will ship you. Get to a point where, you are used to it.
It was not enough.
It was not enough.
Yeah. You go and come. When you come, you go and take the cane.
Oh yes, they will give it to you. When they call you into the bed, those that they will call you to the bedroom. When they call you to the bedroom, you know that you go freely. But I think that we should be very wary and very careful of how we are handling matters in this country. Bless, I kid you not. This Christmas, people say that, I mean, people spent a lot of money, and therefore there's money in this country. All those people who were in this country, they were foreigners. The real Ghanaians were in the house. Did you go out?
Of course not.
Which money? Look, we had the honor of taking my wife's cousin out, and we regretted. That's why we're talking about it. We thought that we were going to spend some small money after dinner, just about 4 people. And we spent so much, and I'm like, I'm not going out again. Because yes, you will spend the money, but you need to get it back. It's a problem.
Yeah.
It must not be lost on us that right now, as we sit here, the economy is in tatters. Right now, as we sit here, we do not have a clear direction as to where we want to go. Right now, as we sit here, it must not be lost on us that the president has zoned out.
Oh yeah.
Right now, as we sit today, the president does not care about your plight anymore, because for whatever it's worth, he served his period, and he's gone. The president is out of the picture.
He's checked out already.
He's checked out.
If he has mentioned it, he has said.
So it is very important that in appreciating where we are now, we do not compound matters by, swimming in irrelevant, tangential matters which will create unnecessary tensions in this country. Honestly, I mean, if you allow them to speak at any, but also what force do they have? What force?
But the question is, do you know what they would have come to say?
You see, no, it's not about what so let them say it. Because you see, you cannot be prejudiced. You cannot preempt.
Can't deal with that.
No, you cannot preempt. You cannot act on the basis of assumptions. You cannot act on the basis of assumptions. You must have hardcore facts to back whatever claim that you are making.
But if you claim, decisions based on assumptions.
No, you see, the thing
to avert crisis.
But you see, but what you have done, invariably, you are emboldening them. Invariably, now they would even think and assume that now they're actually a force.
Yeah, they are very
to
relevant.
reckon with.
It makes them relevant.
And therefore, we must be. You see, Gabi, I understand you. Whatever you've said is right. It's true. From the PRO to the word force in their whatever, in their name or whatever it is. I agree with you. Okay, but what I disagree is the description we've given to that force within this particular context. Ghana is a democratic country. It is. And anybody who lives in this country automatically must abide by the tenets of the Constitution. And therefore, nobody can get up and act beyond the periphery of the Constitution. If you have you forgotten the doctor who was arrested on the basis of yes. So anybody who tries to engage in some thinking that they can lead a coup d'etat in this country will be arrested and dealt with. This guy I've never heard him say that he wants to forcibly take over power from Nana Danko Akufo-Addo. He's never said that. So I don't think that we should give oxygen to that which is dead. And if you see the comments on social media about the new force and things like that, when he finally unveiled himself as the leader of the new force, if you read the comments, we knew, so what? People don't really care. Let me be honest with you.
It was known already. Even the lay person knew about it.
People don't care. Honestly, people don't care. What people need is food on their table. They don't care. Even NPP, both NPP and NDC, they are suffering small. The apathy will set in 2020. People will not go and vote again. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we have real crisis that we must deal with. We have to make sure that we utilize the state resources very well to avert, the real uprising. Maybe we are losing sight of the fact that the real uprising may even spring up from places where you do not expect them to spring from. Yeah. When you drive through, when you are going, just use the Fiesta Royal stretch. You will see the young people selling dog chains on the streets of Fiesta Royal. This morning when I was coming, there were some gentlemen who were filling potholes. Okay? And if you drove past them and didn't give them, because sometimes when they see that you are driving, they think you have money. If you don't have money, you don't give them. The agitation, you can see they are insulting you. These people are aggressive. Those are the people we should be scared of. That is a real national security challenge. Unemployment. And not new force. Unemployment is a real national security threat. Every year, over 200,000 people graduate from the universities. Every year. Every single year. 200,000. How many jobs do we have in the public sector? How many jobs do we have in the private sector? Have we created an enabling environment such that Kwame Usu-Danso, after completing Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, would be able to say that, oh, I want to venture into water or pure water business, so that I would not burden the state? Have we created that environment? No. Right now, if you are a young graduate and you want to access loans, it is practically impossible. You cannot access loans. Now, when you go to the private sector for jobs, they will ask you, do you have 10 years experience, 5 years working experience? How can somebody who has just graduated from university have 10 years experience? It is practically impossible. All the people who are supposed to be on retirement, sometimes they even ask them to come back. Yeah. They give them contracts to stay on, to continue to work, because they say, oh, they have expertise. Forgetting that there are young people, teeming young people who are very endearing, who wants to work within those sectors. Yeah. So, yes, these are the issues that we are confronted with, and these are the issues that we must deal with. And to focus our lenses on the new force, the third force, the young force, the movement force, the whatever force, is irrelevant. You understand what I'm saying? So please, it has happened. We cannot cry over spilled milk. But it is important that going forward, we must be guided and guarded by some of these things, so that in the future, we will not be haunted by the very decisions that we've taken in the past, which, you know, we did not think through and deal with. Look, this Christmas, I don't know whether you went to the market. You went to the market to buy some tomatoes and onions.
Make your point.
I'm trying to make the point that right now, prices of goods and services, tomato, onion, pepper, 5 fingers, 5 cedis. So these are the real issues, bless. And so we must focus our lens on that and forget about Cheddar's new force or new whatever it is.
Yeah. I want to particularly ask you about what may be the legal repercussions of such action, because if you look at the amount stated in there, 10,000 cedis, the state says it's going to refund this amount of money back to the organizers of the event. But people have flown several miles from other countries to be part of this event. Hotels, 5-star hotels have been booked for them. They've lived in there for, a number of days, purposely for this event. On the D-Day, without any prior notice, you decide to cancel it. Is it only 10,000 cedis they are going to pay? Is that going to be just the cost?
I have not seen the contract. I have not seen the agreement that is signed, and therefore I will not be able to speak to it. If the state says it is going to refund the 10,000 cedis or dollars,
cedis
to the gentleman
for the venue,
yes, for the venue, then it means that is the agreement. Yeah. So you see, I cannot speak to that which I have not seen the contract. I've not seen the agreement. I don't know what they signed. In any event, whether they were going to speak or not, the 5-star hotel and things like that were booked. They paid for it. So that is the venue that was a challenge. If you still wanted to do your event, you could have found a new venue. That one, it is not a problem. You paid for venue. You didn't pay for hotel.
At the 11th hour, 2 hours to 2 hours to the event.
You could have gone to a castle. You could have found
but the point is that the decision of the government to get it cancelled.
Let me tell you something.
Was deliberate. That is why it was done at that time.
No, you see, you cannot say it was deliberate. You see, and I think that we must eschew that from our conversation. Issues of national security is unbeknown to all of us. They can look in the last minute. They can decide to call an event off.
So they had the intelligence officers.
Do you understand what I'm saying? As for issues of national security, whether we hate government or we don't hate government, we must not question matters of national security. They may have had intelligence that we did not have. So we cannot question the decision of national security to cancel the event. That one we cannot do it. Because, touch wood, if the event had been organized and we had bombings and casualties and things like that, we would have said, hey, and then the state sat back and they didn't do due diligence and they didn't check and they didn't think, and now people have died. You see, it would have come back to the state. So it is better to prevent the unforeseen from happening. That is why, so if the agreement states that, in fact, whether the agreement stated that or not, I think the state has even done well by saying that we will refund your money back to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I were the state, and you genuinely think that this force is not a proper force, I will confiscate the money. But that's just by the way. But I think it's the right thing to do, to return his money to him, so that peace will prevail. But again, Gabriela says something which I think is very, very important. She makes the point that you must declare in no uncertain terms your intentions. Declare exactly what it is that the new force is about. Is it a political movement? Is it a civil society organization? Because their parameters are not defined, you are unsure what they intend to do with the new force, and therefore people will be left to conjecture. But if it is clear that it's a political movement and you are organizing a rally or you are organizing a program at the Independence Square, then at least the state knows that this is a political party that is organizing an event, and therefore they can advise themselves accordingly and assign state apparatus that will ensure that that is done without any let or hindrance. You get the point. So they must also come clean and come clear, and state exactly what it is that they intend to do. Does he want to lead a political movement? If he wants to lead a political movement, they must issue a statement to that effect. Okay, and rather not leave us in the dark. Yes, sir.
Kwame, I just wanted to know, is it the case that the national security didn't know who was behind the mask, and they got to know?
But you know what my suspicion really is that if you've observed with Akufo-Addo in particular and this NBP government, when it gets to this whole thing with their December something, this whole jubilation around December, if you observe,
year of return,
not just year of return, there's a whole December program from that runs from December to January.
And that's year of return, beyond the return, those things.
They all form part of this program.
Yeah.
There's a particular name they reference to it, December in Ghana or something.
Dirty December.
No, that is another
program.
Okay.
So within this bigger program of December in Ghana, they allow so much entertainment, because that is the time for everybody to unwind and move into a fresh year. Did you observe that this particular year, it was as if all political activities within the two parties was halted.
Yeah.
Even though even when our flag bearer came on tour, the news around it was maximum 10-15 minutes. But we focus a lot more on things like Singaton, Cookathon, dirty rave, Afrofusion, all kinds of concerts.
Yeah.
That was where the focus really was, to keep people's minds off the difficulties that we are going through. So to have somebody who comes in with people who are now coming to talk, and man, you don't do national broadcasts or channels for everybody to listen to. Be Facebook Live, will be on YouTube, will be on Instagram.
And foreigners are in the country.
Government can't control.
They don't want
it.
bad press.
Government can't control what is going to be said. And these four people in particular, having one of them alone on the platform is an issue. Not to mention having four of them on the same platform, and to be somebody to on a platform that is trying to gather youth for whatever purpose. Government will definitely do something.
Yeah, but the reason why I asked that question was that couldn't the states have had discussions with because they knew who was behind it. Couldn't they have had discussions on some of the issues, because you were mentioning their intentions were not made clear, but probably the intentions were going to be made at the program, because I mean the guy has not spoken publicly on the issue, So probably that was going to offer him the opportunity to speak to Ghanaians, for Ghanaians to know what he intended to do. But my point is that...
a press conference.
Yeah, my point is that there could have been some discussions. I mean, these issues of national security, you don't wait till then you stop it. I mean, they could have sat down with a guy and...
I agree with you, but see, there are inter-country diplomatic relations which ought to be respected. We don't, as we sit here today, we don't know what Peter Obi intended to say, which may have invariably had some diplomatic issues, you know, between Ghana and Nigeria.
So maybe
So worry about Malema.
And even Ramaphosa, yes, and Cyril Ramaphosa, we also have good relations with South Africa.
Yeah.
So and Malema is a known critic of Ramaphosa.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that is the way to go, okay? But Ghana is known for its peace, for its tranquil. And I'm not sure that we're going to slaughter that on the altar of pleasing a force that is unbeknown to all of us. So clearly, I want, and again, you know, it is important to stress the fact that, look, then I will keep reiterating that issues of national security, it can happen right now, right here. That they can even just call into the show and say we should stop it. Because maybe a comment that I have made is creating some destabilization somewhere. You see, you may not know. Yes, you may not know that what you have said is creating a problem, but it is indeed creating a problem of breaching the peace somewhere. So they can advise that, okay, please halt or stop or move it. It's just sometimes, you know, the president intends to maybe travel to the north. Arrangements have been made. Everything is sorted. And then in the last minute, they will call the presidency and tell them that, no, please don't move here because XYZ.
Oh, yeah.
You get the point. I'm not sure they disrupted. For all you know, they may have even informed them that you cannot hold the program. We don't have these facts.
At this venue, but a different venue.
But a different venue you can. But at this particular venue, you cannot. Because of the symbolization of that particular venue. You get the point.
Yeah, yeah.
And look, when we elect president, look, for instance, if John Dramani Mahama wins the 2024, or if Bawumia wins the 2024 elections,
or if Alan Chamantin
wins,
that is very important.
Where would they be having the acceptance, the inauguration and all this? Where? Independence Square, right? So it is an embodiment of the political system that we operate. It holds some
political sacred grounds.
Yes, sacred ground. Do you understand what I'm saying? And therefore, it is important that we and that is why they only organize concerts and those things, and not a proper political event. Bear in mind that Nana Kwame Bediako has been allowed to speak at that event before.
Hey, today we have a fourth rep.
He's spoken at that event before. He's spoken at that event before, right? So the question then becomes, why is it that this particular event he was not allowed to organize? Because the first one, it was him launching some coin.
Yeah.
Some coin. Freedom coin.
Yeah.
Yes, the first one. So the first one was not really a political rally. The first one was just him organizing launching a freedom coin or something like that. And it was on 6th of March, Independence Day.
Yeah.
So again, I told you that, you see, sometimes the national security will take a decision and we may think that it was taken on impulse. Maybe, just maybe. They have followed the trajectory, they have done their research, they, you know, have followed this gentleman, they've realized that this is what he intends to do. And at this material moment, we have foreigners in this country who have not flown back. And this will be bad press for the country. And even though you may hate the Rambo style with which this thing was disrupted, I think that bad press for the country is not good for movement for Afafranto. It's not good for NDC. It's not good for MPP. It's not good for anybody. Like Nigeria, bad press on fraud on this, on that. No, I'm just saying.
This one I
No.
This is purely movement.
I am you first. You are not listening to what I'm saying. You are not listening to what I'm saying, Gabby.
Let's bring
listen to what I'm saying.
Come and explain MPP's position.
Listen to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that at this material moment, we still have foreigners in this country. And I'm saying that we do not want bad press. And bad press is not good for either the NDC, Movement for Afro-Franto, the NPP, or Ghanaians. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying NDC. I'm just only simply saying that bad press is not good for any of us. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's movement for change.
It's movement for Afro-Franto.
No,
movement for change.
Yes.
Movement for change.
Yes.
Are you the PR?
What is bad press?
What is not bad press?
If it's happening,
you see, let me give you an example. And here I'll use a company. The CEO of that company is struggling to get foreign investors to come and invest in his business because of some negative press or negative news that they've been reading on the press, on tabloids. So you may think that, oh, we are in Ghana, so it's just Ghana. There's nothing wrong with it. You'll be surprised that you will go to maybe UK and to ask for investors to come into the country, and then they will open the tablets and say, no, it's not even a destination for better investment, so I won't go. No matter how small it is, you'll be surprised. And again, we do not know what would have happened if the event had been allowed to go on. We don't know. So, in as much as we are unhappy about the Rambo style,
maybe that is the
but again, like I said, national security matters. You will sit here maybe because of political expediency. You will say that, oh no, they should have allowed them. But in the final analysis, you and I do not know what would have happened. So again, I have no benefit to gain from the new force. I do not have any relationship with them. If they have the interests of the people at heart, I do not know. If they are using it for their own parochial interest, because oftentimes that is what most of these flag bearers do, especially those small political parties. Recently, yesterday or 2 days ago, Amma showed me a litany of monies which have been chopped, allegedly, by CPP executives. Okay, chairmen and chairwomen and chairmen and even my friend's name, Irimambo was mentioned. Some 700,000 Ghana cedis was given to him. He claims he gave it to somebody. Somebody claims the person gave it to them. So 2.3 million Ghana cedis. 2.3 million. Not 230,000. 2.3 million Ghana cedis. So people use political parties for different things. Again, we don't know what this guy does. Between you and I, yes, he says he's a real estate mogul, but you and I were not there. So the thing is that we want to prevent some unforeseen. Again, if you remember the Freedom Coin that was launched, a statement was issued by Bank of Ghana, Security and Exchange Commission, and Bank of Ghana, to the effect that you subscribe to that coin at your own peril. So this is somebody who is perhaps having traits of some, I'm not saying, but it appears that is what other things are involved. And it appears that he may well want to use this movement or third force for something other than a political, a political movement. We don't know. Maybe he's using that to expand his connections so that he will be able to get investors into his business. We do not know, but I can tell you for sure that CPP is chopping 2.3 million. And if that is anything to go by, CPP, a political party that was founded at the beginning of the formation of this country, is chopping 2.3 million. A party that is disorganized, a party that has no leadership and direction, is chopping 2.3 million. Then what can a formidable, youthful political movement do? These are questions that we must engage our minds with.
These are not allegations.
The CPP one.
The CPP one. Yeah. I am saying that it is alleged. But why? Didn't you hear me? Why? Do you think a lawyer like me, I will come and sit here and make statements without? I am saying that what I have seen Okay, it is alleged that 700,000 was given to Yiremambo Moses Ambing, my very good friend.
Next week, Yiremambo has
Ask him, come and ask him. 2.3 million. Okay, why is it that they organize a meeting in Kumasi? And when they went to that meeting, they fired all the executives. Why? Ask yourself. 2.3 million Ghana cedis. And I'm told that the money some came from the chief of staff's office, some came from different political circles, and they came in Ghana must go backs. Ghana must go.
Did you just mention?
I'm saying yes. I'm told that it appears that the money came from the chief of staff. I'm saying, but you see, but some of these political parties, they fund the smaller political parties for their own gain. But the most important thing that I want us to take out from this little submission of mine is that we do not know, even the devil does not know the intentions of man. And so, superficially, we may think that it is a political movement, but it may well be something else. It may well be a conduit or a vehicle, okay, to generate money from different places for his own parochial interest. All of a sudden, 2024, you are contesting. You want to go and look for money. You see, and these young business people, they have connections in Saudi Arabia. They have connection in Iran.
Dubai.
They have Dubai and all those places. Doha, Qatar. They have oil relationships. Nigeria. You know.
Africa.
Yeah. So you do not know. And I wouldn't be surprised that national security saw through that. Say you want to use this to go and do X, Y, Z. We won't allow that. We won't give you legitimacy. The whole question about the disruption of this new force is legitimacy. That's it. We won't give you legitimacy.
So we have just about 25 minutes more to the end of the program. We can
introduce our guest. Why don't you want us to add our guest?
We can briefly.
They are speaking Saka's mind, so he's okay. Saka wants to be on mind. Saka can exit so that he come.
No. The last topic is an MPP NDC.
There's no exit. Okay, bring another chair. Bring another chair. Saka, come.
Go on 1 minute break.
Let's go for a short break.
That's our last topic.
Your tablet is
You're
here.
doing well.
Hey, who is the MCR? Going on break too. They've not gone on break.
Oh, we should.
Continue.
Oh no, we are waiting for you. We have to add you to this panel.
No, but you are there.
Hey, we are going on break.
Who's the MCR?
We are going on break. Please, let's go for a short break and come back.
So.
We are back. Right. Welcome back. If you just joined the show, this is Good Morning Africa. This is the last topic we shall be discussing on the show. It's got to do with the National Democratic Congress and, of course, the New Patriotic Party. We have just about 333 days more to election 2024. Yep. 333 days more, and 364 days to the inaugural ceremony of who the next president is going to be. I think it was 2 days ago that the former president and the current president, they were trading salvos, they were firing salvos at each other with regards to who has not done what. The president accused the former president of not congratulating him for his victory in election 2020. The former president also came to say that, look, about 8 people died during the 2020 general elections. You've not come out to say anything about that, and I feel like that is wrong. But I think it was yesterday that the NDC, they held a press conference. Your party chairman, he is very confident of victory for 2024, and is saying that the NPP should start, preparing their handing over notes. Your thoughts briefly?
That's a very important topic we are coming to discuss. About that's when Akufo-Addo leaving power. Bless. Yesterday, our national chairman, as you rightly mentioned, held a press conference, and he raised some issues that are of importance to the NDC, issues with the EC, indelible ink, and then amongst the things that he spoke about, he also mentioned that the NPP appointees should prepare their handing over notes and prepare to exit office, because we want a quick transition. We don't have time. His Excellency John Mahama has only 4 years to execute his mandate. So when we hit the ground and he's sworn in 7 January 2025, from that very day, we expect a short transition, appointment, everybody is in motion, because we already have our game plan outlined and what you want to do to the people of Ghana. I didn't get it.
Yeah, game plan. Okay.
I shouldn't have got you. He just went to distract me.
So, yeah, they are game plan. So, yeah, are you done?
I made a mistake.
Are you done?
He knows I have a laptop problem. He wants to come and incite me to start laughing, and then I'll not be able to say what I have to say. We have a game plan.
You see the statement. You see the NDC, the posturing of NDC. For me, it's some way. I mean,
come back.
It's marks of a party that everything is done.
Yeah, because you come back after me. Yeah, because I've told you that the duopoly has been the bane of our development. Because like NDC, now it's our turn. After 8 years there, it is our turn. NPP will also go into opposition 8 years and say, oh, it's also our turn 8 years time. This kind of this duopolistic, thing is what has, delayed us in respect of our development. It slowed down a lot of things that we need to have. But there's something this morning, because Gabi was talking more, was being, I wouldn't say religious, but he was talking about Bible in relation to TB Joshua issue. I would want to have a scripture and to read in respect of what we're discussing. It's very important scripture, very interesting one, Gabi. I want to share with you. Yeah. Matthew chapter.
Don't be like him.
Matthew chapter 7, 24 to 27. Jesus was speaking here. And he was talking to good people. He said, therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and put them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and then the wind blew and beat against the house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. And the rain came down, the stream rose, and the wind blew and beat against the house, and it fell with great crash.
That is what the MPP has created.
I'm coming. I'm coming. You see, here, distinction is being made between a builder who built on a rock with a solid foundation and a builder who built on sand without any foundation. These two builders knew one thing. They knew you can't control rain. The rain will come anyway. They knew the flood will come anyway. They knew the wind will blow anyway. But one chose to build on a rock, and one built on sand. Question: in the last 14 years, Mr. Mahama as president, Nanado Mahama Emisata, Nanado Bawumia, tell me who ran this country with a plan? We knew they never ran a country with a plan. Let me tell you this: when Mr. Mahama went to the IMF, what was his excuse? Prices of international commodities fell, and that sent us to the IMF. That's external. The example I gave you, you can't control the rain from falling. The external factors will always come. What is the MPP saying? COVID. They are talking about COVID, Russian-Ukraine war. But there are countries that went through COVID, Russian-Ukraine war. There are countries, Mahama's time, Mr. Mahama's time, there were countries that were also hit by the same falling price of commodities on the international market. Yeah. Yet they survived. Countries have survived. Check all the surrounding countries we have now. All of them are running single-digit inflation, single-digit interest rates. Go and check Mr. Mahama's time. All the countries around that, at that time, you can check it, 2016, they were running single-digit inflation, single-digit interest rate. So the question is that it seems we do things without planning, and that has been the bane of our development. So any small external shock, then we have to go a begging. We have to go to the IMF for them to teach us how to manage our own economy. That is why I'm saying that for the first time, only one politician has shown seriousness, and he says, "I want to be president of Ghana, but I want to do things differently. So before you even give me the mandate, I've put forward a public document, a plan that I would want to use to develop Ghana, to transform Ghana, so that when the external factors come, when the external shocks come, we'll be able to survive it as a nation. We'll be able to create more jobs. We'll be able to put more money into the system." And that is who that person is, if you want to know. It's Mr. Alan Chamate. You wanted to know, and you knew what the person I was talking about. Because he's the only politician who has put forward a plan and says, "This is the plan I want to use to use as a vehicle to transform Ghana." And for me, it is very significant. NDC wants to lead again. Question: Mr. Mahama has only 4 years. If Ghanaians give him the mandate, with the current state of the economy, how things have been destroyed within the economy. I mean, look at our macroeconomic environment. Very bad. Things are not going to improve this year. The question: do you need someone who is only coming for 4 years to come and transform this economy within 4 years? At least you get a president who has a vision that goes beyond 4 years, so that at least he will use the 4 years to be able to stabilize things, bring down the macroeconomic, sanitize the macroeconomic environment, and be able to, transform the country beyond the 4 years. Right. And that is Mr. Alencha Martin. So as for NDC and MPP, the moment they keep the thing NDC and MPP, it benefits them, because then it means the duopoly still continues. But as I said, it is not about NDC and MPP. It's about Mr. Alencha Martin, Mr. Mahama, and Dr. Bawumia, who will be the best president for Ghana. And for me, that is more important
thank you very much.
The political parties.
Thank you very much. Bless. I wanted to run away because when matters revolve around NDC and MPP, if you are not careful and you speak in a manner which appears to be in the interest of the NDC, you'll be tagged as an NDC member. If you speak in a manner that appears to be in favor of the MPP, you'll be tagged as an MPP member. Yeah. And if you spoke in a manner that appears to be in favor of Afrafanto, you'll be tagged as a member of Movement for Change. So I'm very, very careful. But
you're speaking for
one
CPP
thing
area.
is clear.
So speak for CPP.
One thing is clear, that I will try and speak from the perspective of Ghanaians.
Yeah.
And I'll be very candid. Look, this country from 1992 till today has been in the hands of NDC MPP. And I think the last time someone was trying to do some calculation that if you added the last years of Akufo-Addo to that of NDC, it appears they all have the same years, right?
Yeah.
16.
Yeah.
Now, 16 years of the NDC, 16 years of the MPP. What has the MPP been able to do using those 16 years? And what has the NDC been able to do using those 16 years? I think these are the questions that we must ask ourselves. But we must also, in answering the question, acknowledge the fact that times have been different, or times were different. So you cannot compare 1992 to 2016. You cannot compare 2016 to 2024. Times have changed. But what is significant is that if we had a plan, okay, that we were using from 1992 to govern this country, I am sure and certain that we will not be having the kind of conversations that we have on political platforms. If we had a national development plan defining and directing and shaping the trajectory of growth economically, fiscally, we will not be having the kinds of conversations that we're having today. 16 years of MPP, Kufuor, HIPIC. Then we debased our currency. So we started having some economic stability under Kufuor, and quite admittedly so. I mean, we must all admit that under Kufuor there were we saw some progress. Okay? Then NDC took over. Mills, Mahama. What did we see? We saw some stability, but it was not a form of stability that can be compared to that of Kufuor, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Kufuor had an advantage by reason of going the rebase and declaring the country as a HIPIC. People don't get it. It was very strategic. He said, I am highly indebted. Please help me. I don't have money. So he got all the help that he needed to build the 8 years. But on what foundation did he build his economy? Because you cannot build a story building on a foundation that is supposed to build 2 bedrooms. So the question then becomes, what foundation did Kufuor build his economy on? Did he build his economy to survive 20 years, or he built his economy within the period of his tenure? And the question is quite clear that he built the economy on the stills of his tenure of 8 years. Simplicity. So when NDC took over from President Kufuor, they needed to also now redefine their economic path to create some semblance of stability within the country. Then they were hit by Dumso. A Dumso that was not solved by Kufuor, so he inherited. Mills Mahama inherited some fallout from the economic. Oh, please, can I make my point? Please.
Mills period, there was no Dumso.
Oh, my brother.
Yes.
I'm saying Mills Mahama. Whether Mills Mahama. But when did President Mills die?
No.
When did President Mills die?
Professor Mills did.
When did you have Dumso? When did you have Dumso?
Eh?
Did we have Dumso in Kufuor's era?
Did we have for 7 months?
My brother.
Kufuor era, it lasted for 7 months.
I am not asking.
Kufuor solved it.
How did he solve it?
Kufuor brought the revamp brought the...
When did this start cooperating?
No.
You see, don't come and sit here. My friend. I don't want to
I
go.
cannot support the bush.
Let me
This guy,
you how you solve it.
I'm the one talking.
Don't go in areas
When they get
don't go into
They are not. You cannot tell me. You cannot tell me. So are you saying that I don't know what I'm saying?
No, you know, but I am saying...
Don't. You see.
When is your
You see.
telling me
Look. Let me tell you something. With the way we are going, and with the attitude of politicians, this country will never develop. I am not saying that NPP collapsed the country completely. And I'm not saying NDC collapsed the country completely. I am saying that there was no unification of ideas by these two political parties. And that is why we are here. I am not blaming you, or I'm not blaming... but the Dumso matter, it is why? If you were asked an exam question, that in Kufuor's era, was there Dumso or there was no Dumso? Yes or no? What would you say?
It lasted for 7 months.
Would you say it lasted for 7 months? Or would you say yes, there was Dumso? You are doing LLB.
Don't go there.
You are doing LLB.
You are saying that Kufuor didn't solve it.
Let him speak.
I mean, no, after that's just about 10 minutes. Let's proceed and end.
Let me get right on this side. When you finish, you take your paper.
You see, look, Rahman, he's made me change. You see, that's what he's trying to achieve. But again, so let me
That's what
please.
you did to me. I didn't say what you did to me.
this guy is something else. But you see, I think that where we are now is not a place where all of us are excited about. And whether you are NPP or NDC, I think it's quite you must admit to the fact that now the economy is not in a proper place. Whether NDC did what, you inherited and promised the people you were going to change the destinies of the people. You made promises to them on the basis of which you were given political power. Now, how have you conducted yourself within the 8-year period? NPP as a political party, and I'll be very sincere here and now, that I had confidence in Akufo-Addo. I'm not kidding. I'm not lying. I had serious confidence in another Danko Akufo-Addo. Perhaps I was also mesmerized and hypnotized by the political promises that he made, which political promises gave me some comfort, because I'm looking for a Ghana that works. I'm looking for a Ghana where the young person will wake up in the morning and be able to get food to eat. So I'm looking for a Ghana that works. Unfortunately, I was hypnotized, just as many Ghanaians were hypnotized by another Danko Akufo-Addo's promises. We gave him the mandate. He came into to political office, and what did we see? We saw myriad, plethora of corruption, right from the presidency to the last person, I don't want to mention names, but you know PDS, so many of them. Do you understand what I'm saying? There are so many. In fact, even the person who bears my name, Owusu, he bought 13 air conditioners or something like that for his house. Why? Do you understand what I'm saying? So, this is just. What is it? Where did he get the money from? Was the money allocated for buying air conditioners? You see, Saka, you are a law student. You are beginning. No, you've not given birth yet. So, okay, if you have a child, your child is perhaps young, right? Absolutely. That is why I think it is important for all of us to fight for the future of the next generation. Right. But don't come and sit here and be talking about NDC and MPP and praising your political party even when it has failed. You sat here and said Alan Chemate is a new what. Alan Chemate, I like him so much as a human being and as a gentleman. He's a very nice gentleman, but he cannot at all separate himself from the mess that this government has created. He is part of the mess. Maybe he's turned a new leaf. Why not? We'll listen to what he has, because it is only a fool who doesn't change his mind. Alan Chemate has changed his mind. He says he's turned a new leaf. He's created a movement for Change called Afafranto. We will see and listen to what he has to offer. And if what he has to offer resonates with all of us, then we'll give him the opportunity to govern. I think that the Ghanaian people have gotten to a point where it is no longer an affiliation an death-defying and unending affiliation for one political party. I think people are now beginning to appreciate that it is only, elections will only be won on the altar of ideas and policies, and something that works, not on the altar of political promises.
Right, thank you very much. Saka, briefly.
What's the topic? Me and even listeners of the topic.
Oh no, but
So somebody just spoke to me. Remind me of the topic we are discussing. What is that? Even the listeners want to know what we are talking about.
Right. I've told listeners what we are talking about. I've sent you the topics we are discussing. But if you want me to repeat it for the umpteenth time, I would.
You wasted time talking about this.
And you know the topics. You wasted time for me to go on this tangent, Saka. You know the topic. You know the topic. And you came in at 9:25.
Okay, if you will not speak.
No. Saka would speak. So it's got to do with the NPP. Like I earlier stated, with the NPP and the NDC, like I earlier stated, we have just about 333 days more to election 2024. The NDC says you should prepare your handing over notes, and this came at the back of.
Who said that?
The party chairman. You are not aware.
Okay, so I see in Ketia saying so.
You are not aware.
No, I mean just a question. Okay, first of all, I can understand them. I said in Ketia, I think that man. Well, let me not go there. But I think that the NDC seem not to be a serious political party. Yeah, taking into consideration some of their utterances, and especially I said in Ketia. This is a man during the election petition who went and disgraced himself on the door as a witness, and even told us later on he confessed that the NDC didn't have any evidence, and Chacho Chikata even rejected them, that what they are having is nothing, and therefore he cannot use it to go. This was from the words of the Ashedi Ketia himself. And today he is telling us that the NPP has failed. I also heard him say that, they don't need the Nana Dango Akufo-Addo congratulate, they don't need to congratulate Nado and all those things. And he was talking about something else that Nado didn't even Nado didn't even mention or comfort those who were killed during the election petition and all those things. He did the press conference yesterday in their headquarters, and he made those noise. Let me tell you, it is number one, it's a lie that Nado didn't say anything. In the inaugural address, your mama even put it on his own Facebook that Nado didn't say anything to comfort the family. It's a lie. One, Nado in his inaugural address condemned the act of violence that led to some killings. He extended his condolence to the bereaved family and said that their souls should rest in perfect peace. Apart from that, he made the police to investigate the matter, and as we are speaking, all the matters are in court. The Dio one, the Ablekuma Central, those in the north, and the Tachima South. So you hear John Dramani Mahama and his Asiedu Ketia once again, who are more or less becoming jokers, say that Nado didn't mention anything about it. When a simple Google could have educated you that Nado talked about them. And the matter, if you go to the CID office, the CID came out with a press release indicating how the investigation has gone and those who are in court and all those things. Then a whole political party didn't know this. They went and did press conference, and then Nado told you that you didn't even congratulate him when he won power. When Professor Mills won power, Nado congratulated Professor Mills. The reason why Nado made those things in jest was the fact that, look, I mean, the democracy that we are governing, it's not like do and die. Sometimes, even in the midst of serious speech, you can make a gist to bring humor into the whole matter and to lighten the atmosphere. The Nado said, oh, we were speaking on the 7th January, or the Constitutional Day. And he said that even, by the way, up to now, John Dramani Mahama, my main opponent, didn't congratulate me. It's not as if he's looking for your congratulation to become who he is today. He is president whether or not you congratulated him. But he just wanted Ghanaians to know who you are. That you are not the Democrat that people thought you are. And remember the Ashanti Hene, when Ashanti Hene alluded to the fact that we were almost on the brink in 2016. The losing candidate didn't want to hand over, and it had to take persuasion for that to be done. This was John Dramani Mahama. And you see, this Fourth Republic that we are nurturing it. It's still nascent. We are nurturing it to the level that we can all say that, yes, we have come of age. And in nurturing it, yes.
32 years of nurturing.
In nurturing it, you need certain things. You need to adhere to certain democratic tenets, and those tenets is to be a sportsmanship. When you lose election, you accept that you have lost the election. If John Dramani Mahama lost the election and just say congratulations to my winner, what is wrong with that? Meanwhile, this man never didn't even want to hand over until he was persuaded to do so. And I'm saying all these things to buttress the point that, look, we should not take the NDC word serious. They thought that it is just a matter of course because we are in our last 8 years, and that historically Ghanaians have been voting in 8-year cycle and all that. And based on that, whether or not they are competent, they don't care. They thought that it's a circle, so they should come. It is not so. That is the reason I say we are breaking the 8. Because even in these difficulties that we all face, owing to the fact that global crises have brought it. I mean, there's no country. We were talking about some of our neighbors and all. There's no country that has not suffered the ravages of COVID-19. No country. No, but we are a country that has
all countries went through, but not all countries suffered the way we are suffering.
Listen, yes.
That's the difference. Somebody was doing something right in his country.
You see, no. The fact of the matter is
so make that point clear.
The fact of the matter is that we are a developing country, and especially in Ghana, we all know our problem. Our problem is that we are a raw material exporting country. We still do not have what it takes industrially, because that is what grounds all the difference between the developing the developing, and that's when COVID struck, all other countries were looking inward. Every country was looking inward, and therefore it means that a country that do not have that buffer will suffer. And we all know that we don't have that buffer.
But you also overborrowed. Is it? No.
When it comes to inflation and all those things, is important inflation.
Our time is up. Gabi, briefly, then we go. Yeah.
When he spoke about Mahama going to the IMF because of we complained about low price in China, that was because we set a certain price target to achieve a certain revenue. Because we couldn't achieve that revenue, it disrupted our budget and we went into a crisis.
Because we didn't plan well. It's planning.
No, it is planning.
It's planning.
You plan with the price, a global price.
You
plan with the global price. You don't project international markets.
Okay,
but let's move on. NDC also governed with the Ghana Shared Growth Development Framework 1 and 2. 1 under Atta Mills, 2 under President Mahama. I mentioned this thing last week. Alan Martin's great transformational plan, nice policy, it only fits inside the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Saka, Akufo-Addo, I'm yet to hear anywhere where Akufo-Addo did mention that he set up even a commission of inquiry or a fact-finding committee of something to find out who were the people who ordered the shooting of these Ghanaians at the polling centers. Nothing like that happened.
Oh,
we are waiting. So then let the information out. You don't know the information. We have not heard it. We have not heard who the perpetrators are. We want to know who are the people and what sort of punishment. We want to know.
You don't know, and I'm telling you, and you still want to know.
Media, please follow it up. Secondly, you said that you are exporting raw material products. That is the Gorgeousberg economy.
Yes.
Akufo-Addo told us he was coming to fix.
And that
so
is
if after
the one they say one factory.
If after 7 years,
how much did you put in there?
I only have 2 minutes.
Billions of cities.
You promised that you were going to fix it. Your one district, one factory.
Yes,
has not been able to solve it.
No, but
Tell me,
it cannot be solved in a day.
How has one district, one factory refined our oil? Zero. How has one district, one factory refined our gold?
What does that mean?
Zero. Is there any one district, one factory that is refining oil? Is there any one district, one factory that is refining gold? Is there any one district, one factory that is converting timber logs to lumber for export? Is there any one district, one factory that is processing manganese ore? Everything is living in this country. So technically, you have not solved it. You promised us a watermelon factory in Waliwali. The factory is in the You promised us that you are bringing. We have still not even finalized that deal yet. Don't even go there.
I think
if for nothing at all, yes. If for nothing at all, I have mentioned that we have a game plan. We are here to hear about Mia. If you mention one single policy, that's when he comes as flag bearer and
Right. Thank you, Saka. Thank you.